name's Alyssa, and today I'm going to be making my version of a blueberry cobbler donut. A few days ago we went blueberry picking and they were so abundant I knew that I had to make donuts with them. We brought home 13 pounds, so come with me to turn these blueberries into a jam. This jam is nothing more than some blueberries and some sugar. I do just about a 2-to-1 ratio, then just a splash of water to prevent burning. I cooked this for about 20 minutes until it looked like this. Then to finish, I made a cornstarch slurry with a little water and let that boil for a minute until thick. I think that's perfect. Transfer that into a bowl and put it in the fridge to cool, while I move on to make the crumb. This is so simple. It's just some flour, brown sugar, a little sprinkle of some cinnamon, and melted butter. I'm going to mix this with a fork just until it comes together, and then switch to my hands. When it stays in a ball, then I know it's ready. I'm going to bake this until golden. Once the house starts smelling delicious, it's time to make the glaze, which is also so easy. It's just some powdered sugar, and I'm going to add some vanilla bean paste. You could also just add vanilla extract if you don't have that, and some water. And we're going to mix it together until it's ribbony and smooth like this. Now that we're done with the fun stuff, it's time to move on to the even more fun stuff, making the dough. In the bowl of the stand mixer, I have my milk heated to 100 degrees, which is perfect for blooming the yeast. I'm using active dry, so this kind of activates it. We want that to sit for a few minutes before I add the first of 3 additions of flour. Mix this up with the paddle attachment just till it comes together, creating your sponge. We're going to scrape down the bowl and cover for 15 minutes to rest. Resting the sponge improves the flavor and texture of the donuts. Now we're going to add the second addition of flour, followed by the mixture of cold milk, egg yolks, and vanilla. When that comes together, we're going to add the sugar and salt, and the melted butter. We're going to scrape down the bowl and switch to the dough hook for the last addition of flour. This dough should be very soft but not sticky. This is looking absolutely perfect. I'm going to flour in my hands and gently round this into a nice ball for bulk fermentation, where it will sit for at least a half hour or until it doubles in size. Now it's time to divide them into 2 balls so they're ready for rolling. I'm just going to let them rest again for 15 minutes, and you can also pop them in the fridge so they're easier to roll. Yes, there's a lot of resting and waiting around for donuts. That's why they're so rewarding. Finally, it's time to roll the dough. You want to make sure to roll the dough all the way off the edge to get all the air bubbles out. You want to roll it as evenly as possible too. I rolled these about a 1/2 inch thick. I flipped the dough over so that the less perfect side is on top, which after frying will become the bottom. I made sure that there's enough flour dusting under the dough so that it's nice and relaxed and won't shrink once we cut it. I also docked the dough for a more even rise. This dough ball gave me 12 donuts and enough scraps to play with later. We're making basically an open-faced donut. At the donut shop I worked at, we called them Funkies because, well, they're a little funky. So to do that, we're gonna flip the donut and take a normal ring cutter and cut a hole in the middle, but we're gonna leave the middle in so that it'll hold our filling later. Transfer these to a wire rack and cover to rise for at least an hour. You'll know they're proofed and ready when you poke it and it leaves your indent. To fry, you want to use a solid oil like Crisco so the donuts won't absorb so much oil and be greasy. I fried 4 donuts at a time, flipping every couple of minutes with my chopsticks until they were golden brown and fluffy. So we're gonna pull out the center to make room for the jam. And if one accidentally falls into the glaze, we're gonna call it a chef's snack. This was usually my breakfast at 4 a.m.
That's good.
The key to glazing them is to glaze them while they're still hot. We used to say if your hand's not red, it's not hot enough. That helps the glaze set faster and to have a little crack to it.
Kind of like painting.
Your finger is the perfect tool for this, but you can use an offset spatula if you plan on serving these to people. Now we're gonna sprinkle on the crumbs while the glaze is still wet, and do a scoop of blueberry jam in the center, some more crumbs, and garnish with some fresh blueberries. It's gonna be so hard for me not to eat this, but I have 11 more to do, so let me just hurry up and finish these so we can give it a try. Let me just say, it's been a long time since I've had a donut, and this brought me right back to my happiest mornings of eating a hot, fresh donut. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.